Hey, what's going on guys, and welcome to today's video. We are not doing an F1 one today, I know, shocking. We're going over to my other sport that I love. You can tell by my Twitter, Stokesy_YT, that yeah, I do like football a lot. And there's a big event coming up in football, which, well, it's time to predict. It's the Euro 2020 that is in 2021 prediction. Let's go. So let's start with Group A. Group A, we have Switzerland, Turkey, Wales and Italy. I know what you're thinking, it's pretty obvious this one. I mean, Italy should really come out on top. I'm not so sure. I mean, I think they do in the end. I think they do come out on top, but I think Turkey could give them a big run for the money, you know? Yilmaz and Yazici coming off a great season for Lille. Italy have got a few players who have been shaky for Juventus, really not doing as well as they should. I'm still going to put Italy first, definitely. But Turkey are going to be close behind in second. I think they have a really strong defence as well with Soyuncu and Demiral and Kabak. And also their attack could be a lot better than we expect. Then we got third and fourth, we got Switzerland and Wales. Switzerland, they've got the Gladbach boys. They've got like Zakaria, Sommer, Elvedi, to a lesser extent Embolo. Their attack is not where it's at though. You know, I've got the list up here. Let me have a look at who they've got. They've got Embolo, Gavranovic, Mehmedi and Seferovic. I know Gavranovic and Seferovic had good seasons this season, but they're also in not as good leagues. Sorry to Croatia and Portugal for that. And Embolo and Mehmedi have not made any impact in Bundesliga. So for me, they have to finish third, because I still think even with that, they have a better overall team than Wales, which, unless Gareth Bale pulls out an absolute miracle, then the second best player is probably Dan James there. You know, Dan James, Harry Wilson, David Brooks. I don't know how Ramsey's doing anymore. It's not a great one. I'm going to have to put them last. Sorry to all the Welsh people. Group B. Group B has Russia, Belgium, Denmark and Finland. There's a pretty obvious number one, I think, and that is Belgium. I don't think they're going to be like insane. Like, I don't think they're going to completely run away with it. I think their squad is getting quite old now, and some players are underperforming, like Hazard and stuff. And they're still calling up like Chadli. They have Roberto Martinez as a manager. I can't see them doing amazingly in this tournament, but considering their group, they should win it. I think Denmark comes in second pretty well. Like, they have, let's go get their team. I think they have some really strong players in it. In goal, they're clearly starting with Schmeichel. They've got Anderson from Fulham, who had a great season. Christensen just won a Champions League. They've got Simon Kjaer, phenomenal player. They've got Vestergaard, who is solid for Southampton. In midfield, they've even got Eriksen, Højbjerg, Delaney. I mean, it's very strong. The attack is another place where it's just not strong enough for them, I think. Like, looking at it, Dolberg, he's been average. Braithwaite, again, another average player. Poulsen can't get a game in Leipzig, and the others aren't really playing high enough for me to really think they're going to make a massive impact. But they are second, because, well, Russia and Finland are not coming up with a squad that's big enough to really knock them down. So who comes third in this group? I'd probably say, looking at these two squads, I'm going to have to say that, who do Finland even have? Finland have Hradecki in goal. They have Glenn Kamara, who's come off a good season for Rangers. They've got Timu Pukki, another one who's come off a really good season. Everyone else, they're playing in places I don't even know. I can't lie, it doesn't look great for them. Russia have so many players playing in the Russian league. I do not know the Russian league well enough. But Golovin, apart from the fact that he's been injured constantly, pretty solid. Cheryshev I haven't heard of in the past like 3 or 4 years. Same with Zirkov. Miranchuk doing alright for Atalanta, but everyone's doing alright for Atalanta. I think if you have an Atalanta player in your team, it's like having someone who's just on coke. So I think I've got to put Russia third and Finland fourth. I'm sorry for Finland, and I do hope that Pukki absolutely nails it, blasts them into the knockout rounds. That would be great. But yeah, I'm going to have to put them fourth. Now we go to Group C, and I was fiddling around with this a bit earlier. That's why Netherlands is stuck there. We have Austria, Macedonia, Ukraine and the Netherlands. You'd think the Netherlands finished first, but I'm not going to put them first. I'm going to put them second. I think these are the guys who have an absolutely shocking Euros in comparison to where they should be. They've got De Boer in charge, who is awful. Van Dijk's missing out. Van der Beek's just been ruled out. They haven't even called anyone up to replace him. They're going to be carried by Memphis. They've got a strong defence. Don't get me wrong, I mean, looking at this, they've got De Ligt, I think, was struggling with an injury. Same with Blint, De Vrij, they've got Ake, they've got Van Aanholt. It's not great. The midfield is probably one of the best. I think De Jong, Gravenberch, I think could have a massive breakout season, and De Roon for Atalanta is good. I think Gravenberch, this is his breakout kind of tournament where everyone really notices him, and that's where I'm putting them second. I think they will still get up into the knockouts, but it's going to be a bit ropes. The next team we'll look at is Austria. Austria, I would say, looking at their players, David Alaba is the one that stands out to everyone, I think. Sabitzer and Leimer for Leipzig and Schlager for Wolfsburg, they're also standout players. It's still a bit... I've never seen them do anything internationally. And forward-wise, they don't look like they perform at all. Arnautovic is... he's having a holiday in China. Gregoritsch and Kalajic. I think Kalajic has had a good season for Stuttgart. Gregoritsch not so much for Augsburg. I can't see them getting anywhere higher than... I'm going to put them last. I honestly think they're going to have an awful season. They've not had good results recently. I think it's a last place for them. Next, I'm going to go for... Well, I guess it's between first and third for Macedonia and Ukraine. And that is... I feel like that's knowable, Macedonia... They had that crazy result where they smacked Germany, and they have a few good players. Elmast, Bardi, they're solid. Alioski also good. They've still got Pandev, who's about 50 years old now. I think they can upset one or two teams. I think they'll cause someone like the Netherlands and Austria a bit of a problem. They will finish third. This group will be close, I think, and that leaves Ukraine, who are coming into this with a lot of good young players. I mean, they've still got Zinchenko, who I imagine will play in midfield this time. They've got the likes of Shigankov, Matvienko, Michaelenko. Those guys have carried me through plenty a Football Manager save. And I think they could make a bit of an impact. I think they're going to top their group with this one. Now we're moving on to Group D. It's coming home. That is the hope. So where do we start? I guess we've got to start with England, right? That's the one place to start, is the team that is going to be bringing this home, obviously. I don't actually think that. We have a good squad, but I think the lack of depth in defence and goalkeeper is going to really hurt us. Maguire is barely coming back, and then what we got? Cody, Mings, Stones and Walker as the centre-backs. And we're going to be playing three at the back anyway. Let's be real. I know we're calling up, I think Ben White might be up, but other than that, it's not great at the back. And goalkeeper-wise, Pickford's going to start, and that's going to depress everyone. Midfield and attack, though, it should be absolutely business as usual, scoring for days. Hopefully Grealish actually gets starts, because I think he's probably one of the most impactful players on the team. But I'm going to put us second. I don't think we'll win this group, because I think our eternal rivals Croatia, they're the ones who are going to be topping it. They have... What? Who have they got? They've got like Kovacic, Modric, Brozovic, Pasalic, Perisic, Orsic, all in that midfield group there. Rebic and Kramaric are always going to lead the line really well. Lovakovic in goal is pretty solid. They have a lot of players who are really good. I don't really know the defence well enough. I know Bradaric has gone and won the league. But yeah, I think they could very easily get the first, surprisingly. Then it's between Scotland and the Czech Republic. I think Scotland come into this with a team that is much better than they've ever come into a tournament with. And I think, I'm going to say, they've got a player who's actually a Premier League striker leading the line in Che Adams. It's not Lee Griffiths or Callum Patterson, but that is pretty good. They've got two great fullbacks in Robertson and Tierney. They've got Billy Gilmore in midfield. They've got Scott McTominay in midfield and John McGinn in midfield. It's a third place for them, I think. Czech Republic come into this with basically West Ham's team and their transfer targets. They're going to do alright. They're going to cause a few issues, but I think they're still going to be fourth. That's Group D. England not winning is an absolute shocker. But it might help in the knockout rounds, actually, seeing who we get drawn against. Group E, we go in with Poland, Spain, Sweden and Slovakia. A very obvious winner, I think, in this group in Spain. They're not as strong as they used to be, especially in midfield, but they're coming into this with a lot of players who have done a lot of, league winning. Let's see who they got. I mean, goalkeeper-wise, De Gea, I'm sure will be fine. I don't think he'll have the nightmare World Cup that he had. But Pau Torres and Aymeric Laporte in defence. pretty solid. Alba, Azpilicueta are always going to be solid. Midfield-wise, they've got, Llorente, Ferran Torres, Rodri, Ruiz. They've not got Saul. That surprises me. Adama Traore is always going to cause problems. Attacking-wise, Oyarzabal and Pedri are all very good young players. I don't think they have enough clinicalness in Morata and Moreno, but I think for now, first is where we're putting them. Second, I think, has to be Poland for the simple fact that they have Lewandowski. He is going to score goals. He's been scoring goals for absolute fun. They also have the likes of Fabianski, who's always going to lay it down, be pretty solid. Other than that, looking at the team is not great. There's not a lot of players who really stand out at all for me. Bednarek is mediocre. Zielinski at Napoli. The rest don't stand out at all. And it's going to be close between them and Sweden, I think, in second and third. Sweden come into this with a lot of solid players. I think Isaac's going to lead the line perfectly fine. You've got Forsberg, you've got Kulusevski, who's really solid. You've got Lindelof at the back, who's always going to be decent. I think, I think third's good for them. And Slovakia, as much as they come into this with one or two pretty decent players for their level, Skriniar is coming into this, Dubravka, and a very, very old Hamsik apparently is still in here. They don't have anything attacking wise, and that's why they're going fourth. They have nothing that's going to push them up the field, apart from their one great defender and their solid keeper. Fourth place for them. And now we get to the group of death. The group of death is Portugal, France, Germany and Hungary. I'm so sorry to Hungary, but you have to go bottom. No Szoboszlai is really sad for them. The only player who let's have a look at the team, because I think the only player who I really recognise there is, you got Galaxy and Orban from Leipzig. Everyone else is definitely not really making an impact here, which it's unfortunate. I think with Szoboszlai, they could have caused a few issues to these bigger teams, but let's be honest, these bigger teams are going to be plenty good enough. I'm going to put Germany will go third. They're going into this with Joachim Low is leaving. They've had some awful results. Timo Werner has had such a torrid form as their main striker, but they still have one of the best midfields in world football. Kimmich, Sane, Goretzka and Gnabry, all Bayern players, are all you just might as well play the Bayern team at this point, The defence is a bit weaker than usual. I think Hummels, Rudiger are pretty solid, and then Gosens and probably Klosterman at right back. It's decent, but it's not the Germany that we used to know. It's not the World Cup winning Germany. And then we have Portugal and France, and I think France win the group. They are seen as probably the favourites, but there's something about them. I think it's the goalkeeper and the defence that just makes it a bit shakier for me. Lloris isn't amazing. He's good, but he's never truly stood out as an amazing keeper for me. And Maignan has just moved to Milan. He had a good season. Defensively, Varane's always going to stand out. But then Zuma, Kimpembe, Hernandez all seem like players who have either had injury issues or just haven't lived up. Same with Longley. Digne at left back is going to be a good player. Pavard always seems to do alright at right back. It's going to be a bit weird. And then the midfield they should control with the Kante and Pogba. Don't know how Sissoko has got a call up still. Those sorts of things, those sorts of depth issues is what makes me think that France could struggle a bit more than people say. But I think they are still going to top this. And Portugal, I think Portugal are coming in this with the best squad, actually. And I think Ruben Diaz, Bruno Fernandes, those two have both been two of the best players in the Premier League this season. And you've got Ronaldo as well. You've got so many other players. I think Portugal will finish second in the group, but they will do fine. And then we got to get to the best third place teams. And it's not about who's going to be the best in the group. It's about who's, going to pick up the most points against other very similar teams. And for me, looking at this, I think Switzerland, North Macedonia, Germany, and probably Scotland. Switzerland, North Macedonia, Germany and Scotland for me. It's going to be close though. Those are my four best third place teams. And now we move on to the knockout stage, the bit where it gets really spicy. We've got through the groups. You know my thoughts on the teams. Let's see who wins. This would be a real spicy round of 16 match. Belgium versus Germany. And I think Belgium do win this. Do they? God, this is a hard match to call because Belgium have got an old squad. They've got a lot of players who really shouldn't be in there. You know, looking at their squad, they've got the likes of Chadley still in there. They've got like Carrasco. They've got Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Vermaelen's all still in there. But they have a few good young players like Tielemans coming in. They've got both the Hazards. No matter what form they're on, they might do alright. But then their backup strikers are both from Crystal Palace. Once your backup strikers are both from Palace, it's ropes. It's lights out. And Germany definitely have a better squad for me. And I think Germany win that. They definitely have a much better squad for me. Italy versus the Netherlands. I think Netherlands are going to be absolutely shocking in the knockouts. I think Italy easily win that. France should beat Switzerland pretty nicely, and England should beat Poland nicely. I could very much see this match being Lewandowski scoring several. But I'm going to say England win it. I'm going to be very nice. Spain versus North Macedonia. You know, everything is shouting at me saying Spain win this, Spain easily win. But I've seen Spain bottle it so many times, and I've seen North Macedonia, they're looking quite good. I'm going to give it to Spain still. It's going to be a close game though. It's going to be a lot closer than people think. Croatia, Portugal through. I think Portugal are so strong this year. Ukraine versus Scotland. Ukraine go through, and Turkey, Denmark. Turkey go through. In the quarterfinals, Germany, Italy. Those are very close. They're both not quite what they used to be. Both former World Cup winners very recently. I think Italy get through this one against Germany. I think they have the better tactical management. They have a bit better in the... I don't think they have better in the player. I think it's pretty even. But I think Italy get through. I think France beat England here. You know, France are one of the best teams in this tournament as well, and England will not be able to hold a candle to them. Spain versus Portugal. Portugal get through that. They have a really strong side. And then Ukraine, Turkey. I think Turkey get through that as well. Turkey semi-final for me. Italy versus France. This is one that I think France could really find as a stumbling block. You know, Italy, they do have a lot of solid players, and they're going to be playing an absolute defensive masterclass, I think. So for me, Italy get through that ahead of France, which it seems pretty shocking. It seems like France should win that, but for me, Italy do, and then Portugal should beat Turkey pretty nicely, and we get the final, Italy versus Portugal, and Portugal wins. Portugal wins the Euros. That is my prediction. That is who my money is on. If you want to try this out, then it's on the UEFA website. It's been a lovely time trying to predict these with you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Like and subscribe, and peace.